Okay, thank you everyone for attending our Parks Committee meeting. And I'd like to call the meeting to order. And the clerk, please call the roll.
Alderman Vaccaro,
Present.
Alderwoman Tyus, Alderwoman Martin,
But not just talking stand you level, but
Alderwoman Worrell,
Here.
Alderman Todd,
Present.
Alderwoman Clark Hubbard,
She was there a second ago.
Alderwoman Peel, Chairwoman Boyd,
Here.
Alderwoman Tyus, Alderwoman Martin, Alderwoman Clark Hubbard, Alderwoman Peel. I see Alderwoman Hubbard's picture.
She's
So-
there. She's muted.
Yeah, it's 4 present. Quorum has not been established yet.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was Sarah Martin on? Alderwoman Martin?
They were there.
She said she's running a few minutes late. It looks like maybe Janice is getting it set up for her so that she can
Okay.
pop in maybe.
Other woman, Shameen Clark Hubbard was there, but now all of a sudden she's not there.
Okay. Well, we'll get started
Okay.
because I'm respect of people's times. Thanks everyone that is in attendance, and thanks the ones that's on their way. I wanted the first meeting to really focus on the newer older people so they could get an understanding on how the dollars were spent in regards to the parks accounts. And so I asked Greg Hayes and Kim Hagley to be our speakers. And so are they on the call?
Alderwoman, this is Kim Hagley. I'm here.
Okay.
And Greg is going to be on shortly. We had an emergency here that he's handling. So as soon as he's finished with that, he'll be joining us also.
Okay, thank you, Kim. So we'll let Kim get started to kind of tell how the money is distributed in regards to the parks accounts. And so from the 2 accounts that we have, in the 2, Kim?
Actually, there's, basically 2. I'll explain more.
Okay, all right. So you can start, Kim, start talking.
Okay.
Chairwoman Boyd, excuse me, Kim. I just want to let you know I'm on the call now. Sorry for the visual of my face.
That's okay, you fine. Okay, Kim.
So there's basically 2 pots of money for most of the parks. The first is neighborhood parks money. That does not require a match. That comes out of the BJC lease. And the only stipulation there is that 50% of it has to be spent north of Delmar. Then we have 2 Metro Parks funds. One is a 1/10 sales tax. The other one is a 3/16 sales tax. Both of those require a 25% match from another source in order to be used. And then our regional parks, Carondelet, Fairgrounds, O'Fallon, and Wilmore, they have their own tax source, so they have their own money to be used, and they are not entitled to neighborhood park funds, those specific parks.
Did anyone have any questions in regards to those fundings, pots of money?
If I may make a comment, Alderwoman Boyd, this is probably rhetorical, stating the obvious, but for many, many years, probably 15 to 20, Commissioner of Parks, Dan Skillman, and now Kim for several years sends those respective letters, as you know, to all 28 alderwomen and aldermen with proposed projects in parks, in all their parks within their ward. And those are proposed projects based upon parks review and possibly even prior conversations with the alderwoman or alderman of that ward. So we always want to be on the same page. We want to do things in the 110 parks that the aldermen are supportive of. So just want to make sure, especially if there's anyone new to the committee, that maybe COVID changed it a little bit. Of course it did, but those letters have gone out for years, typically in January, asking for responses.
Thank you, Greg. Was it, do
Uh,
we have
Yeah,
newer?
Chairwoman, do you see my
Okay.
hand?
Okay. Go ahead, Jesse.
Ms. Higley, my first question is, and I'm gonna make a statement first. I have not been getting any money in the 18th ward from that money for our neighborhood parks, and we haven't gotten any since I was committee man, Democrat committee man for more than 25 years. We got very little or none while I was committee man north of Del Mar. Now, getting to my question, I've been asking that for Johnny on the spots. I've been asking for also that restroom. You know, I've been asking for since I've been alderman. I've been asking for activities, supervised activities with material. My question is it any way you can give me, how far can you go back, first of all, and see where the money has been spent? And also, so I'm requesting that. The other question is, can I get a breakdown on how much will be spent this year north of Del Mar, that neighborhood fund money?
So Alderman, when you first came on board, I did a breakdown for you of your ward, of what money was spent in your ward. So I will send that to you again, because I can go back with Dan Skillman's records back to about 2004 or 2005. So I will send that breakdown to you again on what has been spent in the 18th ward.
My other, okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
And go ahead. I had an interjection in a moment. Go ahead, Kim.
The other thing is all of the, once we met, so like we've met now with most of the aldermen, I submit to the park committee a list of all those projects. And so it'll be a list of projects for neighborhood parks. It'll be a list of, there'll be 3 lists: neighborhood parks and the 2 Metro Parks funds. So the park committee sees all of the projects that have been requested from all of the aldermen for a particular fiscal year. So that happens, it happens every year, except it didn't happen last year. So we didn't do a whole lot last year. When you and I met in the last, 2 weeks, when we've been doing ward capital meetings, that neighborhood park money was set aside for the design work for that restroom that you would like redone up in Turner Park. And then there is usually money left that I keep set aside for what I call miscellaneous projects. And those are, that money is for things that break throughout the 110 parks. It could be a drinking fountain that got run over, or you know, something got vandalized. Beckett Park is one of them. They keep stealing the copper out of the plumbing chase. So we are now going to install metal doors and metal frames, and we are going to tap weld the doors shut to the plumbing chase so that they can't get in there. The plumbing's been replaced 3 times in that building, so we're gonna have to get more creative and do something where nobody can get in.
Also, while you're talking about Beckett Park, first of all, let me thank you very much for coming up, being creative. Is it possible to ask the plumbers to put in plastic instead of copper since
Yeah,
since copper is valuable and we live in a very low income area, and there are just people who are desperate as well as drugs, and also we may have some people who just are greedy. I don't know what their reasons are, but whatever the reason is, copper seems to attract thieves. So if we can use plastic, maybe they will, whenever possible, that certainly will stop the stealing. In the meantime, may I get some Johnny on the spots for both Turner Park and Beckett Park, because people are using the restroom outside, and that is against the law, as well as unsanitary, as well as eyesore.
right. Yeah, in this instance, we'll be putting something up there. Just understand that we don't put people who are doing events or personal events or things like that. If they want additional porta potties, then they have to supply them themselves.
Right,
again-
okay, I'm sorry. I'm not
But-
talking about additional. I'm just talking
Right.
about
No, we can do
having
that.
Johnny on the spots, just
And-
so people can use the park and the restroom at this, when they need to use the restroom. So we will stand within the law, as well as sanitary, as well as making sure that we're respecting the community.
Right.
Yeah.
And if I may interject, thank you, Kim and Alderman Todd. Yes, so at Beckett with a non-operational, with a non-operational comfort station for sometimes due to theft and destruction of city property, that is a case where, yes, it is warranted to have porta potties there. Years ago, for many years, Parks was supplying porta potties in instances where it wouldn't be in lieu of a non-operational comfort station. And we got to the point where we said, we always try to find a way to say yes, and I hope you agree, to all folks. But we said, why are we funding porta potties just as kind of a luxury? At Beckett Park, it's certainly not a luxury, it's a necessity. So I want to thank you for bringing that to our attention, and we want to have that operational. The other one is, I want to be clear, was your contention earlier that since you've been alderman, that no projects or no money has been spent on your ward in?
No.
I want to
No,
be.
let me make this very clear.
Yeah, sure.
Since I will give you the best example is the Turner Park, which is not a luxury, because they have a shell, a beautiful shell, no toilets in there. That's a necessity. So while you're doing, so that my answer is I had 2 reasons to ask. My answer is I've been asking for at least since I've been in there. And I came to your office once. Since it's been built, I haven't come directly to you, but since I've been alderman, I've asked that either Johnny on the spots, which is not a luxury, or repair it. Give me Johnny on the spots until you repair the toilet. But if you don't repair the toilet, since it would be open, which may create a problem.
Totally respect that comment you just made. Yes.
It could create a serious problem if you put bathroom in there and no doors. My suggestion would be to have Johnny on the spots and somehow keep people from, and people would go to the restroom, most people would, but I wouldn't request that you put a toilets and wash basins and other things with an open space so people can go in. It would cause damage. And I think it would just be a waste of taxpayers' money. But I am asking that you put Johnny on the spot because of the necessity, not because of the luxury. But those people who have special events and need more Johnny on the spots, of course, they will have to order them themselves. So I'm not asking for anything, any luxuries whatsoever. And the answer to whether or not I do believe many years ago we did get confiscations when I went out there in a protest. But since I've been alderman, at Turner Park, I don't know where that money was spent right before I became alderman. But since I've been alderman, I am not saying that hasn't any money been spent. I'm asking that the half that's supposed to be north of Delmar, as well as the whole budget, because I'm concerned about the people south of Delmar too, the whole city. I
Sure.
just want to be knowledgeable. Since I'm one of the stewards, I was elected to be a steward of the taxpayers' money. I want to be knowledgeable of how all taxpayers' money is spent, and I want to make sure that it is spent the way it's supposed to be spent. So that's why I ask these questions. So it's not just the 18th ward, it's the whole city, but I do want to know about north and south of Delmar to make sure that the money is being spent because of the health benefits of parks, the mental and physical health benefits, the crime reduction benefits of parks, the beauty of we have more than 100 parks. So I'm concerned because of that, and with the health benefits as well, we would save taxpayers money too, and also we would make people safer if the people who are being supervised, especially younger adults and young kids and adults who commit most of the crime, if they're being supervised with activities, you can't get in trouble, as much trouble under supervision and being active as you can if you're not doing anything constructive.
Right, right. Yeah, Board of Public Service and Parks documents on terms of capital projects in all parks should always be mirror images. And hindsight's 2020, but I think some of the
Okay, I
decisions.
think he muted himself because I can't hear him. Can anybody else hear him?
For me, Greg? Can anybody hear Greg Hayes?
I can hear you, Greg.
I hear you,
Yes.
Greg.
Yeah, my only other comment is hindsight's 2020, but I believe some decisions on Turner Park and a associated comfort station would have preceded Kim Hagley and my tenure, but we're here to work with you, Alderman, especially that Beckett Park. We hope we can put something in there that's not a fourth incident of having to spend more money unnecessarily. So thank you.
And also, I want to let you know that my constituents called me and who is running a program there, and I haven't spent the $500 yet, but before I knew it, I was promising her I would have to spend it out of my pocket. So I wanted that too, because I have a lot of other needs in the ward that I can donate to different constituents, since we have some of our people that have challenges at this time.
That onus and cost should not be on you, and I assume you're referring to Miss Pam Talley.
I'm referring to, I hate to, Miss Harris is the one who
Okay, gotcha.
started the program, and she called me and told me it was an emergency and that she had ordered 2 Jan on the spots and she wanted me to pay for them. So before I knew it, I said, yes, I will. So I have to pay for them if we don't get Jan on the spots there.
Thanks, we will.
Thank you.
So, Madam Chair, she might be having, so I think what we'll do, oh, there she is, okay, otherwise we can go down the list, but she's back now, looked like computer issues. Madam Chair, I believe Alderman Todd is already done. Did you want to just go down the seniority list or just leave it open for however? So I think she's having, because I can't hear her. And I think she's having problems. Chairwoman, are you? And I can't hear her.
Can you hear me, Alderman Vaccaro?
Yes.
Okay, I just want to interject really quick because I don't want to miss this because the public is watching, and just for clarity, can we hear from the parks on the proper process for getting those Johnny on the spots? Because I don't want people to think that now they can just call Johnny on the spot in their.
I can tell you without even asking them, they're not gonna they won't put them in. But Kim or Greg, can you answer that, please?
The problem is budgeting. And the problem is it got out of hand. Like I have a young lady that calls, she's called me every time since I've been commissioner. She has a family reunion and she doesn't want to walk to the restrooms, so she wants me to supply Johnny on the spots. That's something that that's what I was referring to earlier. If there's an operational bathroom in the parks, then the events need to be scheduled around that. That being said, there are not bathrooms in every city park. So if that's something that we're gonna go towards, then that's gonna be a budget issue. Now, usually it takes care of itself because when people have events and they don't have bathrooms, they supply their own Johnny on the spots. But it becomes a big budget issue and we don't supply them for individual events.
And when people do schedule these individual events, they go through the special, they go through the permitting the special events.
Correct, Travis.
If it's inside the park, and let's say it's like a backpack giveaway and it's a community event, usually those just go through the parks department. If it's something huge, like the balloon race, or there's a Strange Folk Festival in Crondelet Park, or Alderman Muhammad's done Taste of Africa in O'Fallon Park. Those become huge, larger events that usually involve food or liquor or things like that. Then those go through the Office of Special Events in conjunction with the Parks Department. So it's just not one or the other. It's not one or the other with the bigger events, it's both. And they have to do both. And Joanne in my office is the permit manager. She is the one that handles the larger special events. And even the backpack giveaways or things like that. And she will walk people through what that process is, you know, contacts with the health department, things that they don't always think about. And so there's that process there. She'll send them the application. It's a whole process, but we can get them through it.
Okay, thank you.
Alderwoman, on the same, it's somewhat on the same vein, maybe a little off tangent. Years ago, we had the staff, as probably everybody on this call knows, we had the staff many years ago of city employees where we could deliver things to events. A few years ago, we made the decision, unless it's in a city park, we can't be taking Fridays to deliver and Mondays to pick up things that are not events in a city park. We're totally supportive of a city park, but delivering it to a street somewhere, not even near in close proximity to a city park, some event that is at a private area or an LRA lot, we just don't have the resources to do that. So we cannot stand to say no to elected officials, so to speak. But that has been the hurdle where we have to be supportive of events in the park and not outside of them. We need to be cutting grass with the limited staff we have. So I appreciate the understanding as best you can.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Madam Chair, is your microphone, is that working yet? I think she's having audio issues. Madam Chair, if you don't have a problem, I'll go down the list. We'll just go down the list until the chairwoman comes back. Alderwoman Sharon Tyus, any questions, comments, or anything for these guys?
See, my hand was even up. See there?
I didn't see it. I apologize.
I just wanted to say, I had spoken to Greg Hayes about Alderman Todd. And this is the suggestion I want to make, since I have been around such a long time. If there is a park that has a bathroom there and it's not functioning, then we ought to, if you want to make a decision about how we put money, if there's a non-functioning bathroom, then we ought to get it fixed. And if we cannot, then we ought to be trying to look at as much as possible to put porta potties there. If there's not one there, then we need to make a list of requests from aldermen who want bathrooms put in the park, okay? But to have a bathroom there that's non-functioning for a very long length of time is a failure on the part of the city to me. And I know what you go through. You know, I'm a big fan of yours, Mr. Hayes. And I know what you are dealing with and trying to cut grass, but it makes no sense to have a bathroom that doesn't work, okay? So that should be a priority right there. Make a list of the bathrooms at parks that don't work, and let's start working on them. We won't get them all at one time, but we will get them sooner or later if we have a list. A separate list would be, okay, these are the parks that don't have bathrooms. So ask the alder people if they're interested in them and start making that list. We won't get them all at one time, but we can do a fair distribution north and south of adding them. And because if we're all pushing that children and people should be back in the parks, one of the functions of a human being is that they have to go to the restroom, okay? And unless it's just a local where you can run home, like when I grew up, you went to the park and you could run home if you had to, if the bathroom wasn't working in the park. But so we need to just start making that a priority to fix them. We cannot act like that we don't have a need to have bathrooms in our parks. So if Alderman Todd's bathroom has been broken for a long time, then that's something that needs to be fixed, okay? I might have one in Handy Park. I got to issue in Handy Park, but the whole building is closed, but I want the building open back up. So you need to look at these things. We got these assets, but we just close them down and close our eyes. And that doesn't work. And it's not because you're doing it on purpose, it's because we don't have the money. We have a little pot of money now. These are the kind of things, if we have some kind of budget or some kind of list to show what this is what we have. I actually have a list of all the parks in the city of St. Louis, but that's because I've been around so long. But in what the acreage is and where they're located. But if we have a list of what we're going to address, and this is how we're going to address it in a fair and equitable manner, I think everybody, most people here can get on board with that. So I would just like for you to produce for this committee, if possible, a list of parks that have bathrooms that are functioning, a list of parks that have bathrooms that are not functioning, and then invite the aldermen to submit to you where they would like to see bathrooms in their parks, okay? And then we could, at least we would have a working plan.
Alderwoman Tyus, I think that that's a great ideas, and I totally concur. If you're encouraging people to be in our parks, they need the basic conveniences of a restroom. We will get those lists to. Would you? I assume we'll.
I would actually send it to the chairwoman, and she would distribute it.
That was, thanks, Alderman Bacall. I was going to say, do we send it to chairwoman or the entire Board of Aldermen board? But if Pamela, Miss Boyd could do that, that would be great.
Is that Alderwoman Tyus, is that acceptable with you like that?
That's acceptable as for her. Since it's so easy to send emails, I don't do that. But if that's okay with her, I'm fine with that. That just gives her one more step to do. That's the only thing. With to me, since they have our emails anyway, it's just as easy to send it to all of us. That's what my suggestion was. I see several people are shaking their head.
So Greg, if you would just send it to the entire board, that would be good.
Or
at least to this committee, since they would understand what we're working on.
I can put a couple sentences in there that this came out of Parks Environmental, and just that'll suffice, I think, and we'll be happy to do that in a timely manner.
Thank you. I have no further statement.
Alderwoman Sarah Martin, you got your hand up, but you're also next. And Melissa Seniority, just checking, Alderwoman Chairwoman Boyd is so far seems to be having computer issues. So I'm gonna keep.
Okay, I'm back on. I'm sorry.
Oh no, you're fine. If it's okay with you, Alderwoman Sarah Martin was next, and she had her hand up.
That's fine.
I'm just going down the seniority list.
You know what? We need technology, but sometimes it's a habit. Trust. Go ahead, Alderwoman Martin.
All right, thank you. Well, while we're on the subject of bathrooms, I don't know if I have one working bathroom in any of the parks in my ward. As everyone's aware, my community development agency puts on these big concerts in Carondelet Park, actually Carondelet Park, South Square Park, and Belle Reve Park. And each time there's been no notice of the bathrooms not functioning, even though the director asked many, many times, will the bathrooms be working? Then Friday afternoon, when it was too late to get a porta potty because they close at 3:30, that's when we figured out that the bathrooms were for sure just not going to operate. The night before Thursday night, this is before the first concert, the police had a picnic and there were porta potties there, and I never thought to think, or it just didn't occur to me that maybe they were there because the bathrooms weren't working, and the park staff was very well aware that the bathrooms weren't working. Then Sunday night, this past Sunday night, the bathrooms were working again in Carondelet Park, but there was no paper products or soap. So, I mean, it's a huge draw. A lot of people come from, outside the city, Illinois, St. Charles. We have these wonderful bands play, and it's just pretty darn embarrassing. I know some of it's because of the theft. It also just seems like some of the park staff is just not really on top of, whether these bathrooms are functioning or not. I don't know if there's got to be there's got to be a better way to, notify us, or I don't know, there's got to be a better way to keep track of whether these bathrooms are working or not. And like I said, I really am not sure I have one fully functioning restroom in any of the parks in the 11th ward. So.
But I have a follow-up comment. Thank you, Alderwoman. When ballpark timeframe did these problems commence? And have you been in direct contact with Kim? I have not heard. This is the first I've heard on this.
I have unfortunately had to call and text Kim. And I also understand too that, well, I had to call and text Kim on a Friday and then Saturday and Sunday. And, Kim took care of it, made sure there were porta potties there. My biggest frustration is that, the Carondelet Community Betterment Director asked for at least a month out, to make sure the bathrooms were going to work, And then he was told like, oh yeah, they'll be fine. And then, that Friday before they weren't. I also understand that there are, I don't know how many bathrooms are across the park, or you guys call them comfort stations. I don't know how many comfort stations are across the city. So I understand that you're not going around flushing every toilet, but there's just I don't want to pick on anyone, but there's got to be some way that's, especially with like some communication with special events, that hey, these aren't working, especially if people are paying for permits and have that expectation.
Sure. I'll see if Kim has any way in. Going back to Alderwoman Tyus's request and great idea. We know that. We'll just simply put it on lists for you. But like I said, I certainly believe you. This is the first I've heard of this concern, and we don't like excuses in the park division. But we have one plumber that handles 110 parks, so we're trying to get a lot of things going as quickly as we can with one plumber. But if we have to contract out at times, we will on an urgent basis. But Kim, is there any way in you may have?
Yeah, so I would agree with you, Alderman Martin, that there is some communication issues on our part. Our staff in the office that's doing the permitting isn't always aware of when bathrooms go down or problems occur. So that's why citizens are being told one thing and another thing is happening. In the case of Carondelet, that was one of those things where, what was it, about 3 weeks ago when all of the health orders were lifted, that caught us totally off guard. So Carondelet had a broken pipe, and when you only have one plumber and you're not gonna have events because of COVID, you don't make that a priority. So that wasn't made a priority. And then all of a sudden the health orders were lifted and everybody could do everything. And then we were scrambling to try and get open what we needed to get open. And we'll own this, that one slipped through the cracks. We did get it fixed. We were able to get you porta potties. South St. Louis Square Park, the men's bathroom is what doesn't, the men's bathroom is fine. It's the door and the door frame. We ordered the door, but then somebody tried getting in again and damaged the frame. So we had to order the frame. Belle Reve is, I don't know what to do about Belle Reve with the homeless. I haven't figured that out yet.
I mean, I will say, I mean, South Square, and I feel like everyone's so siloed and spinning their wheels, that, you know, I don't know if we need to work better with the police and make sure that, you know, they understand that these are hotspots for vandalism. I don't know what the answer is. It does sound like it's just a citywide problem, you know, with the vandalism, the copper theft, all of that. And I'm not here to pretend like I have answers. I know during Ways and Means, the issue with just the backlog with special events and, you know, I understand too that there's only so many staff people, but it just all kind of seems like it's going hand in hand. And again, I really want to be a part of the solution. I don't want to pick on anybody, but maybe that's something that just we really need to think about. Even it's getting a little late this year, but next year on how we can improve. Like, what does special events need to be successful, and make sure, you know, when they're issuing these permits, make sure that there's this checklist and they have a checklist. The person requesting the event has a checklist that they know that they need to do to get the permit, but also making sure that these conversations in bathrooms are, you know, taken care of in time. So I'm open to any ideas on how this committee can help.
Oh,
Okay. Is that all, Alderwoman Martin?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
You're welcome. Alderwoman Navarro's next. Do you have any questions or comments?
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. No, I do not have any questions or comments at this time, but thank you both, Kim and Greg, for all of your hard work. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Alderman Todd, do you have anything else you wanna add?
Your voice is going out. Can you hear me?
I can hear you very good.
Okay, I would just like to make this comment is that North, it appears that, again, I want to reiterate that my concern is about North and South St. Louis, and that that is the reason we need to make sure that whatever area we are spending money in, that we don't overspend in some areas and underspend in other areas, because we have a huge budget. But it appears to me that for whatever reason, the employees and the resources are not distributed the way they should be as far as meeting the needs of throughout the city when it comes to parks. The last thing I would like to, and I want to thank the Alderwoman from the 11th for bringing up her problem. And I think this is my opinion that there are other concerns throughout the city, South, North, and South, that we all have in common. And I think that we certainly need to make sure that we don't dismiss each other, whether we live in North St. Louis or South St. Louis. We need to be supportive to make sure as stewards that we get the resources for our constituents so that we can have a better city. And thank you very much, Madam Chair.
You're welcome. Is it somebody else on the call? I'm sorry, because I don't see the other names.
Well, I'm sorry. So next is going to be Alderwoman Shameen Clark Hubbard, but I did notice that Alderwoman Tyus had her hand up earlier. Did you have a follow-up question, Alderwoman Tyus? Might have just been left up from before. So next on the list would be Alderwoman Shameen Clark Hubbard and then Alderwoman Peel.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and members of the committee. I don't have any additional questions. I do just want to thank Commissioner Haley. I've gone over their office since I've only been out to learn the process, how to get things done. So I have always been and helped me and guided me in the right direction. So thank you. And I know there's always going to be a capacity issue. It sounds like it's a capacity issue, but like Alderwoman Martin said, I definitely want to sign up to help address that and help to make that process work smoother for our constituents so that they can enjoy the parks. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So the next one's Alderwoman Peel, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Alderwoman Tina, do you have any questions or comments?
Thank you, Alderman Boyd. I do not. I just want to appreciate that we have this meeting today so I could learn about parks, and I look forward to working with you as we proceed through this year. So thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
Chairwoman, I have a question if I could. I haven't. I'm just curious about the splash pad at Tillis Park. I've been getting calls about that, and with it being 100 degrees this weekend, can we get that thing up and going?
I can tell you that they're working on them. I will ask a status. I think we're supposed to meet this afternoon. I'll try to have that for you when I meet with you this afternoon.
Okay, being 100 degrees and I know a lot of city people have Juneteenth off, so Friday, Saturday, Sunday's gonna be a long weekend. 101 degree weather. I would just say, please do that.
We're trying our best. Again, when they lifted all the health orders all at once, and when you have one plumber and you only pay that plumber $36,000 a year, you're not going to get any new plumbers, especially in this, with the labor shortage. A licensed plumber can make twice that easy starting out. So I have no hopes of anything changing in that respect unless I can find a retired plumber that they'll allow to live outside the city.
We've had numerous conversations with Department of Personnel over the years to do a tiered approach, plumber 1, plumber 2, et cetera, for a more desirable and attractive wage. But yes, so Alderman, you're on our radar for sure, of course. And I'd like to go back. I'd like to congratulate the Alderwoman of the 17th on her position. I have not been able to meet you in person, but it's nice to meet you virtually. And Department of Parks, Recreation, and Forestry is here for any concerns you may have moving forward. We'll do the best we can. I appreciate it.
I'm just concerned, especially in Tillis Park, where people have been calling me, telling me maybe they're going to make this a news story, and I don't feel like standing in front of the splash pad that's been in for 3 years or 4 years, and it's been non-functional more than functional. And I do get concerned about that kind of a thing. Madam Chair, that was all I had. Do you want to go back and clean up, since we have a quorum? Did you want to go back and clean up and do the approval of the minutes from the February 9th meeting?
Yes, I would like to go back because we were waiting for a quorum for us to approve. But could we get
I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes from the Tuesday, February 9th committee meeting, 2021.
Can we get a second?
Second.
Thank you. Could we call the roll?
Alderman Vaccaro,
Aye.
Alderwoman Tyus, Alderwoman Martin,
Aye.
Alderwoman Navarro,
Aye.
thank you. Alderman Todd,
Aye.
Alderwoman Clark Hubbard,
Aye.
Alderwoman Peel. Chairwoman, thank you. Chairwoman Boyd,
Aye.
Alderwoman Tyus. 7 present, I'm sorry, 7 aye votes.
Okay, thank you.
Madam Chair, I
yes.
don't know if you can see it or not, but Alderwoman Martin has her hand, she has a hand up thing.
Do you have your hand up? I'm sorry.
Sorry, I apologize. I forgot to take it down.
That's okay.
Thank you.
What I'm hearing from this discussion is, and I think to me, it's citywide. It's not just the Parks or Forestry Department, it's citywide. I don't see where our departments are proactive. They function in a firefighter's mode, and so they're reactionary. And so, and I've told this to a couple of directors and commissioners. I said, you know, and I guess for me coming from the corporate world, things are kind of different than the city. And so we were always taught you plan ahead. And so the only way I can see a relief in regards to parks, in regards to bathrooms, in regards to forestry, is we start planning ahead so we can be prepared for emergencies, because I understand the staffing issues, because the Ways and Means, we heard numerous of departments that's struggling with staffing. And so since Parson has lifted this unemployment thing, that might give us some relief. You know, I'm just hopeful thinking, but I just think department heads should always plan ahead and map things out in case of an emergency. And so I just see you all running around trying to put out fires. And if you have planned ahead, because what I'm hearing from the Alderwoman from the 11 is it's been a problem with the bathrooms. And so in the winter, when we were down low, we probably could start addressing some of these hot spots. And then when we got hit, then you all would have been, and it might not have been all the way prepared, but you would have been halfway prepared. And so that's all I'm asking, if you all could start looking at how to be proactive instead of being the firefighters that you are, because that's what you are. You're doing a firefighter management. And so I would suggest that you try to start looking at the crisis that you have, prioritize. And then like Alderman Tyus said, get us the list of the wards that have the problems with the bathrooms, and then start prioritizing and start looking that way. We are in the middle of the summer, and we did open up a pandemic. And so now we have lifted everything up. So a lot of areas are kicking back in high gear. So now you all are gonna be hit harder. So I just ask that you look at your issues, prioritize them, and then just start labeling them out. And then all the people know, Alderwoman Martin, this priority is a priority too. And we're going to look at how we can address this. And in the meantime, maybe we need to have porta potties at these parks because you have these events. And so, that's my suggestion. So I'm just asking for you all to just take heed, because everybody's now in shock, because now the masks are off and we're wide open. And now everybody's in like, oh my God, what are we gonna do? So that might help some of your stress too that you have. Does anybody have any announcements?
I was just gonna ask, I saw that Alderwoman Gwen Evans, I know you were having issues off and on. It's been present. She's not a member of the committee. Are you gonna have?
She can add. Does she have anything? Alderwoman Evans, do you have anything you want to say?
Good morning, Madam Chair and members of the committee. I am just listening in. This is my first time listening in, and I have learned a lot just by listening in. And so now the parks that I do have in my ward, I am going to go by and check out the functionality to see if there are any problems that I am not aware of. So I just appreciate the members and the board for letting me sit in and learn of these issues.
Yes, ma'am. Anybody else? Anybody have any announcements? Okay, it was asked, somebody did ask, and I thought it was a great idea. We just need to coordinate it. We can't travel to all 110 parks as a committee, but we could start looking at what parks we could go to that Alderman feel are a priority in their wards that we need to look at to see how we need to address, issues in their park. This is a Parks and Environmental Committee, and so we are going to be looking at environmental issues, which are a big issue to me in regards to the health and the sustainability in our communities citywide. And so I don't think people realized until COVID hit how it impacted communities in regards to health-wise because of the environmental issues within our communities. And so that is something we'll be focusing on as a group. And I'll ask for any input that people have because there's no bad ideas and no bad suggestions. So on that note,
Madam Chair, can I ask again? I noticed that Alderwoman Tyus had joined us again and her hands up.
oh, is it? I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, no, I had to go answer a phone call. I had to take that for my next meeting. So maybe I just left it back up. So I'm just listening to the chair.
Okay. Everybody was in attendance. We had no persons that was not in attendance, correct? Because I was having problems, so that's why I'm trying to make sure.
No, that we were all present.
Okay, so no excuse, Alderman. So on that note, I'll adjourn our meeting. Could I get a motion to close the meeting?
I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
Second. All right. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thanks. Have a good day.